All Elite Wrestling has been putting on some fantastic wrestling action over the last year since its inception, including several big pay-per-views that will be remembered for years to come. This weekend, we'll see another one of those pay-per-views brought to our television screens to continue the trend of leaving us wanting more. I'm talking, of course, about the second annual Full Gear event, where we're going to see what I'm sure will be some amazing in-ring action. That being said, I'm Le Champion Steven from the Hills Maniacs, and these are my predictions for this year's Full Gear. We will start with the AEW Women's title match between Nyla Rose, who was actually the former champion, versus Hikaru Shida, who is the current champion. Honestly, their women's division is a bit lackluster. I haven't even really paid attention much to their women's division because there's not a lot going on. And I think that Nyla Rose is going to actually win the title back because now she's sort of the big-time heel, and she's aligned with Vicky Guerrero. Yippee. So I think we're going to have to hear Vicky Guerrero shouting into our screens for several months while Nyla Rose reigns dominant as the women's champion of AEW. And I don't know who would step up and challenge her next, but I guess we'll see where that goes. Next up is Orange Cassidy versus John Silver from the Dark Order. This match is really random and kind of pointless, so I think that Orange Cassidy is going to win this. I honestly don't even know which one John Silver is. And they haven't done much with the Dark Order lately. They're basically being buried Retribution style in AEW, only somehow less worse than that, if you know what I mean. But anyways, moving on from that. Next up, I will talk about the Elite Deletion match, which is a match with stipulations that we don't know. I don't think it's ever been announced exactly what these stipulations are, but this match features Sammy Guevara versus Matt Hardy. I'm going to say Matt Hardy wins this. I'm pretty sure he won their last match, which was like the Broken Rules match or whatever, which I guess had a lot of controversy behind it. So I think Matt's still going to win here, and they can end this feud and move Matt into a program with somebody else. Maybe have him go after the world title or something along those lines. Or Sammy Guevara can just stay in the inner circle where he's been all this time and still stay relevant, I guess, because he is pretty good in the ring as well. And Matt Hardy's still got it, I think, despite how long he's been there. So I think Matt Hardy's going to win this match. Next up is for the TNT Championship. Cody Rhodes is the current champion, and he will be defending against Darby Allin. Now, I haven't paid as much attention to AEW over the last couple weeks, so I don't know if there was actually any build to this, or if it was just Darby Allin sitting in the crowd like Sting used to do. Like, that's all we've seen is like images of Darby Allin for a brief moment watching from afar. So I don't know what exactly he did to deserve this opportunity against Cody Rhodes, but I actually think that Darby Allin is going to come away with the win here because even though Cody just won the title back a couple weeks ago, I think originally he wasn't going to lose it to Brody Lee. They just did that so that he could go away and come back. And I think it's time somebody new actually won the title. You know, Cody's held it for a good while now. We don't even remember Brody Lee's run with the title, really, if you think about it. I think it would be good for Darby Allin, give him a nice little push as champion for a while, and especially if he does what Cody Rhodes did with the title, like having it defended every week on AEW Dynamite. That would be good for Darby Allin as well, just giving him this big push and letting him fight against some of the better stars of AEW as well, until someone else comes in and dethrones him. You know, that title it's a pretty big title. It's basically like a second world title. Cody has said it's sort of the like one of the main titles in the company, and it might even be better than the world title. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, it still seems like it means something, which is a good thing. Next up, we have Chris Jericho versus MJF, the battle of the mega heels. Where if MJF wins, he will join the Inner Circle. I think MJF is going to win this because I think what he's trying to do is overthrow Jericho and take the Inner Circle for himself so that he can start winning championships and he can be the dominant heel in the company, while Jericho and a couple of the people who don't who don't want him in the inner circle will leave with Jericho. It'll be like a split of the two inner circles or something colliding against each other, because there were some, like I think LAX in there, Proud and Powerful or whatever. They don't really have a tag team name, I guess, but they were kind of skeptical about about MJF joining, or Jericho's like okay with it, but they don't want him to join the inner circle. So I think it would be even better if MJF did. Then maybe they'll have MJF and Jericho teaming up for a while or something, and then he eventually reveals what his true intentions were, is to take out Jericho and to take his group for himself. Next up, the AEW tag team titles are on the line. This one I'm really looking forward to. However, I don't think it's going to end the way some people might want it to. It's FTR versus the Young Bucks, and if the Young Bucks lose, they will never be allowed to fight for the tag team titles again. I don't know if that means similar to what they did with Cody Rhodes, where if he lost that world title match he had a while back, he cannot fight for the world title ever again, or if it just means as long as FTR are champions, the Young Bucks can no longer fight for the titles. But I think the way they're going to get around this is it's either going to end in a time limit draw or a no contest, because lately FTR has been sort of making rules about their championships where there's like only a 20-minute time limit allowed and things like that. So I think this match they'll fight each other to the limit. That way it protects FTR, because you don't want to take the titles off of them just yet, because they kind of just won the titles. But also, I think nobody gets they don't want to defeat the Young Bucks and not allow them to fight for the tag team titles again, because what else are they going to do? I mean, yeah, they're probably both good singles competitors, but we've never really seen that. We've always seen them as a tag team. So rather than either team lose, I think it's going to end in a no contest or a time limit draw, leading to a future rematch at one of the next pay-per-view. Whatever the next pay-per-view is, I think it's Revolution in January or February, whenever it is. And maybe that's where the titles can change hands or something like that. And it gives the Young Bucks a little bit more time to become, I mean, not that they're not credible now, but they haven't really done much lately in AEW other than becoming number one contenders. And they've kind of been doing heelish things to get here. So I think this would help play into that a little bit more as well, and lead to a future rematch for these two teams, which might be an even bigger, better match than this first one, with an actual decisive winner this time. Next up is the World Title Number One Contenders Tournament Finals. It was called the World Title Eliminator Tournament, but it's to determine the next contender for a future shot at the AEW World Championship. The two finalists are, as everyone I'm sure predicted, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page. I'm sure this match will be incredible. I hope this one doesn't end in a time limit draw if they were going to have that happen. This one should be like the 60-minute time limit one where they can just go at it for like 45 minutes, something like that. I think Kenny Omega is going to win here, because I think Adam Page should beat Kenny for the title. And that kind of ties into what I'm going to say next about the world title match, but I'll get to that in a moment. So I think Kenny Omega, though, is going to become the champion in the next few months, and then maybe hold it until maybe next year's like Double or Nothing or All Out or whatever they do, one of those big pay-per-views where Adam Page can finally capture the AEW World Title, because he was actually one of the first people, along with Jericho, fighting for the inaugural championship, and that's what Jericho won it. So that'd be kind of nice to have Adam Page dethrone Kenny Omega and take the title. Plus, I think Kenny Omega has been sort of like a heel lately, so Adam Page is the babyface. I think they should have done this in reverse, honestly, but that's just me. Like, I thought Adam Page should have turned on Kenny Omega in their tag team title, like after they lost the tag team titles. That's what it always seemed like. He was sort of having dissension with them, but Kenny now seems like the heel. So I think Kenny Omega will win this and go on to win the world title, and then Adam Page can beat him for it somewhere down the line. And it kind of gives Adam Page a little bit more time to become a credible threat to the title as well. And finally, the AEW World Title I Quit match between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. Now, honestly, I haven't really seen much of Eddie Kingston's work. Like, I was watching TNA for a while or Impact Wrestling, I guess, when he came in with, like, the original LAX and things like that. And then I stopped watching after that. But he does seem like, he's one of those, like, hard-hitting fighters. So this is going to be a hard-hitting grudge match of a war between these two for the title to get each other to say I quit. I don't know how long the match will go. I hope it goes a long time. This is another one of those that's probably going to steal the show, if not that Omega Hangman match or FTR and the Young Bucks. But I think Jon Moxley is going to retain the title here, just because I don't know if Eddie Kingston doesn't seem like he has done much in AEW yet to deserve a shot at this. Like, I think they're almost doing away with the sort of records of, like, who should actually be number one contender. Like, for a while they were keeping track of the win-loss records. They still are, but I don't know if they're playing that in, because Eddie Kingston hasn't been here nearly as long as some of these other people. But the reason I'm saying Jon Moxley should retain is because I want to see him versus Kenny Omega one more time, and that's who Kenny will beat for the title. This time, though, Kenny Omega will be doing heelish things. Because originally Jon Moxley came in, neither of them was the champion at the time, but Moxley had a rivalry with Kenny Omega when he first started in AEW. And I'd like to see that kind of come full circle again, and have Jon Moxley fight Kenny Omega at the next pay-per-view or whatever. So there you go, guys. Those were my predictions for AEW Full Gear. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments section. What are your predictions for the show? Who do you think is going to win? And also be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. We'll be predicting Survivor Series in a couple of weeks, which is a WWE pay-per-view that's almost completely pointless. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video, everyone, and take care.